Hi, Christina and Zeke. Here I am, kind of upside down, so that you have that disembodied voice there. Anyway, I hope you like the quilt, and I'm wishing you all the best in your new adventure. And I just thought I would try to pass along some of my expertise. I did have 3 home births, but beyond that, I was a nurse and a childbirth educator and a labor coach, and I've been at about 100 births. So I'm here to give you that extra boost of confidence. I'm sure you are supremely confident after what I'm sure is an extensive reading and education program. But I'll tell you that the most important thing is for Christina to trust her body and do what your body is telling you to do. Because believe it or not, without all the books, without all the classes, without all the advice you've gotten from all these people, including me, your body knows exactly what it has to do to have your baby come into the world. Okay? So I'm going to give you a little pep talk here using the Birth Atlas, a book that was copyrighted first by Dr. Robert Latow Dickinson in 1940. So it's none of that new age, 70s hippie barefoot kind of crap, okay? It's the real deal. Starting out with your ovaries, your uterus, and your now uterus. So it was once that big, but now it's that big, if not bigger. It's big, okay? As you can tell that you have to pee all the time and you can't breathe. And right here is your cervix. It is now locked tight, keeping your baby safely inside. And this is all that beginning stuff, the sperm, the egg, that whole business. So you don't need to go through that. That was like a long time ago. Yeah, the little spermies going up into the uterus, into the fallopian tube. The egg comes out of the ovary, and they meet somewhere along in here, and then the little fella travels in there and plants himself somewhere and starts to grow. This is kind of interesting, though. This is the fimbria that kind of grab on just when the egg is coming out. Because look, on this side, that month, the ovary did not release an egg, and the fimbria is just free floating there. And this is how the little bugger starts out, 1 cell, 2 cells, 4 cells, 8 cells, blastocyst, zygote, fetus. No, embryo, fetus, baby. So, 4 weeks, it's just like a little pea. 6 weeks, look at that. It already is a little tadpole. And this, of course, is much bigger than it is. It's just really that size. So there you can barely see it. There it's, I don't know how big that is. Very small. There, very tiny. Very tiny, but the heart is beating. All that good stuff is going on. Now this is actual size at 2.5 months, but you're long past that. 3.5 months. And here's your placenta, which is attached to the wall of the uterus and giving your baby everything that you're giving yourself, kind of filtering it through. And notice here the thickness of the wall of your uterus, because as time goes by, it was thicker here, thinner here. It keeps stretching and getting bigger, and so it gets thinner. Look how thin it is here. And that baby is just tucked into your bony pelvis here, and he's just swimming around and having a great time. All right, here he is maybe a couple of months ago. Upside down, hopefully, kind of tucked in there. And you see he doesn't have much room, so he's doing a fair amount of kicking. And he might be feeling pressure down here. That's why you have to pee all the time. And he's kicking you up here just when you're trying to sleep. All right, here we are now. Your little baby is taking up almost all the room that you've got. Look how thin your uterus has become compared to how thick it was several months ago. And I don't really want to scare you, but he's got to fit through that hole right there. But we'll get there, so don't you worry. So this is before labor starts. This is the bag of waters that he's in. This is all liquid, and you can see he's got a nice cushion of water there. The bag is intact. Your cervix is very long, and it's starting to open just a teeny tiny bit. And now your cervix is starting to dilate. So now you have to see the difference between the two pictures here. So here is your cervix, right? And you see how nice and thick it is? Then it goes through a process of thinning, which is called effacement. Because those are some of the terms you'll hear. Oh, she's 80% effaced and 2 centimeters dilated. So, and this is why your back hurts. Look at that hard little head pushing right on your spine. So now your cervix is almost completely flattened out. So it's, I would say, 90% effaced, but still not a whole lot of dilation gone on. Dilation is the opening. So basically, your uterus, here's one side of it, one side of your cervix, here's the other side of it. All this has to pull back to allow the baby to come out. And also, as it pulls back, the muscle fibers kind of collect here, and they're doing a bunch of pushing as well. So you won't have to push it out completely. The uterus will help you push. Now, a good portion of dilation. This effacement is completely gone and dilation has started to occur. So now, comparing the two pictures, here's one end of your cervix and here's the other, and just that fingertip, they call that fingertip dilation. But now, as you have progressed, here is one end of your cervix and there is the other. So that's probably maybe 5 centimeters. You're halfway there. Wow. And you could see the muscle fibers have gotten thicker. They've gone from being that thick to being that thick. So they're gonna, this is still placenta around in here, but the muscle, the uterine muscle is thicker. So, and here's your bladder. I mean, it's just got no room for pee in there, and it hasn't for weeks. So now you're having quite a few contractions and they hurt. But guess what? They don't hurt and you're gonna die. They hurt and you're gonna have a baby. It's worth it. Plus, the other thing that you must have learned now about labor is that the pains are intermittent. It's not one big constant pain from the time you get in there till the time the baby comes out. The pains start, 10 minutes apart, 8 minutes apart, 5 minutes apart, 4 minutes apart, 6 minutes apart. They go kind of irregularly for quite a while. And I think they tell you when it's 5 minutes apart, or like regularly for an hour or two, or your water breaks. So that's when you go to the hospital. Stay home as long as possible. Get some comfortable clothes, some massage by your wonderful husband Zeke, maybe soak in a hot tub if your water hasn't broken, some light food, juice, popsicles. You're going to need your energy, so don't go for that don't eat or I'll throw up, because you know what? Don't have a burrito or Chinese food or pizza, but have some soup, some broth, some Jell-O, some juice, some popsicles. Keep your energy up because you're going to need your energy, okay? So the pains start, 5 minutes apart, 4 minutes apart, and they might last for 30 seconds. So it's going to kind of hurt for 30 seconds, not that bad, and then it'll go away. And guess what? So if they're 5 minutes apart and they last 30 seconds, that means it's timed from the beginning of one contraction to the beginning of the next. So if they're 5 minutes apart, it means You have a contraction that lasts for 30 seconds, and then 4.5 minutes later, you have another contraction. And in the beginning, it can be pretty irregular, so don't worry about that. As labor progresses, the interval between them gets shorter, but the contractions get longer. So when they're 3 minutes apart, they might be 45 seconds long. So a contraction starts, it lasts for 45 seconds. It hurts like hell. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. It hurts, but you can cope with it. You breathe. In through your nose, out through your mouth. You look into Zeke's eyes. You think about your baby. You visualize your cervix opening. Just say, I think every contraction is bringing it a little bit farther apart and bringing my baby boy closer into my arms, okay? So that you could wrap him in that beautiful quilt. Anyway, so the thing about the contractions is, so let's say that's 3 minutes apart and they last for 45 seconds. So contraction starts, it lasts for 45 seconds, it hurts, you scream, you curse. Okay, the 45 seconds is over. It's 2 minutes and 15 seconds till the next contraction. And guess what? In that 2 minutes and 15 seconds, you will feel just like you feel now. Normal. When you are not having a contraction, you are not having a contraction. It doesn't hurt. You might be a little thirsty, you might be tired, you might be hot, you might be cold, but it does not hurt. So one of the things that women get into is worrying about when the next one is coming, watching the clock. It's been 2 minutes, the next one's going to come any minute. I can't stand it. I don't want to do that again. Blah, 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 blah. Stay in the moment. You could do anything for 45 seconds. Anything. If only it was just 45 seconds, because then, you know, they're 2 minutes apart and they last a minute. They're 2 minutes apart and they last a minute and a half. So, okay, now it's 2 minutes. You have a contraction. It lasts for a minute and 30 seconds, and then you get 30 seconds of a break before your next contraction comes. But do you know what that means? When it gets that close, and the contractions are that close together, and they're working so hard, you're almost there. You're in transition. That's when you could poop, because you're putting a lot of pressure on that rectum. You could puke. There's some bloody show. You're really not going to be a very nice person at that point. You're going to yell. You're going to scream. Maybe. You might be like real zen and just sit there and meditate. Doubtful. Transition sucks. Okay? It sucks big time. Nobody likes transition. But the good thing about it is you have it for 10, 15 minutes. It's gone. Over. And then guess what? Look where your cervix is. Compared to there. It was here. It was here. The baby's head was pressing. It was hurting. You hated it. You never wanted to have another baby. You didn't even want to have that baby. But all that good work, good hard work that you did, all that staying in the moment, getting through each contraction as it comes, not looking ahead to the next one, just staying in the moment. Look what's happened. The cervix is completely out of the way, and the little baby can pass through. His whole head can fit through there now. It's amazing. That big muscle just contracted, pulled up, and got out of the way with your hard work. And now the little darling's ready to come out. This lucky baby still has his water intact. That's another thing they like to do in the hospital. Oh, we'll just break the bag of waters and speed it up. You know what? There's no reason to do that. Try to resist that sort of intervention. You know, let the baby come in its own sweet time. And you're a nice big girl. You're strong. You're focused. You'll get that baby out in no time. Look. He's coming out. He's kind of turned his body and he comes out. Now you got to kind of picture this. This is your back. That's one of your legs. And the baby's coming out like this. His little head, the top of his head is going to be the first thing that shows. So you may be going to see that much at first, right at your vagina. Maybe then a little bit more, a little bit more. It'll take a few pushes, but let me tell you something else. Once you're fully dilated, it doesn't hurt anymore. What hurts is the dilation, the pulling of that great big muscle out of the way hurts. Pushing does not hurt. It feels pretty weird. It feels like there's a locomotive barreling down the road there, but it doesn't hurt like that anymore. There's a lot of pressure. You might be really tired and it's hard to push at that point, but you can do it. I'm sure you can do it. And you push really hard. It's like taking the biggest poop you've ever taken in your life. And one thing that you could do is when you're pushing, try not to let it slip back in there, because you know it does. It goes up and back, up and back, up and back. So once you get it out a certain point, it's going to come out. So try not to let it slip back too far. Oh, look at this. This is crowning. His little crown of his head is out. Sometimes this looks like a cone head. Do you remember the cone heads from Saturday Night Live? That's just from being in the birth canal and pushing, you know, against things too long. But, you know, it'll come down in a day or so and he won't look like a little cone head anymore. I've always complained about this one. Oh no, this one's still, okay. So what happens is after he's at here, he's not going to come out like this because the width of his shoulders is right there. So he's so smart, he turns. All on his own, he turns his head. And then the doctor or midwife can kind of guide his head so that one shoulder comes out first and then the other one slips out. Because this way, he's going to be too big to come out. So he has to turn. And he's smart, so he turns. And there he is. Your baby's going to look much cuter than that. And this was my complaint, is they never show the whole thing. Then it gets back to, you know, your uterus, your placenta. But let's stay on the baby picture. So your baby's going to look much better than that. You're going to be a strong, brave girl and get through it without too much difficulty. Remember, stay in the moment. Remember, when you're not having a contraction, enjoy your rest time. Don't be chattering. Let people let you rest. Close your eyes. Get some ice chips. Put a cool cloth on your head. Think about your baby. Think about all the love you and Zeke have that had you make a baby that you're going to love, 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 love. Okay? So enjoy the quilt. Enjoy the baby. I'm dying to hear what a wonderful birth story you had. And I can't wait to see the little bugger. Okay, love you. Bye.